Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So I have to issue a correction because in my last video, I thought I heard Luke say this was an abject script, but a couple of people pointed out in my comments that he was saying Abjad. So I went back and looked at it and he in fact does say Abjad. So I'm going to show you the difference and why I thought that this abject term was describing the scrolls that we saw there, because as you'll see, it looks pretty rudimentary compared to ancient Greek and what I was talking about yesterday in the video. So let's take a look and see what he said.
Yeah, it's an abjad.
It's the exact.
It's an abjad. It's
what we call
it's a different
classical
script.
Hebrew.
It's a different script, but it's the
Hebrew.
exact same alphabet.
So you can see he said abjad there, so I misheard that in my last video, but as you'll see why I thought he was talking about abject, because the definition for abject ancient writing is as this from my last video, where right down the bottom it says, can be seen as a literal study of early fragmented or low status texts such as curses, magical spells, or as recently discovered, early rudimentary alphabetic inscriptions. Now I thought that was describing this perfectly, because this was kind of a magical spell because it was a priestly blessing from the book of Numbers. So as you can see here with the scrolls, you can see it does look like a pretty rudimentary script. And I showed yesterday how the Phoenician alphabet fits perfectly with what was written here and not the Hebrew on the right. So you can see there, that's the Phoenician on the right, and then the Hebrew Phoenician on the left with the scrolls. So I thought it described perfectly the abject, but he said abjad. So what was an abjad? So abjad is a writing system where symbols represent consonants with vowels either implied by context or added as optional diacritical marks. So he's saying Hebrew is abjad, where the vowels are implied. You have no vowels, but they're implied vowels. So you put vowel marks where you think it should go, which seems pretty rudimentary to me based on the description of what abject is in this. That's why I thought he said abject, and it fit perfectly with this description. But abjad still sounds pretty rudimentary to me, but that's the difference. Abject, abjad. So that's what Hebrew was, abjad, and inferred vowels. So thanks for watching, and there we go. That's the correction from my last video, where I showed you the difference between abject, abjad, and why I thought that's what he said, because it was fitting perfectly with the description of what I read in the last video.